President Trump, you are an incredible man. Whatever this is, we have your back. Deception!
Buff, maybe we should stop this.
The government went nuts the moment South Park unleashed chaos, and panic spread faster than anyone expected. Phones rang endlessly, emergency meetings erupted, and officials struggled to contain the shock of being publicly humiliated.
It is going to completely change your life, though. What are you talking about?
By the time the credits rolled, authority had cracked, and the nation was left staring at its own unraveling.
The president is a great man, and he does not deserve to be tormented like this.
The night the episode aired didn't feel like entertainment. It felt like something snapping. Inside federal buildings, the mood flipped fast. Phones started ringing. Staffers stopped joking. Screens replayed the same scenes again and again. Not because they were funny, but because they were dangerous in a way no press conference ever is.
Mr. President, your ideas for the tech industry are so innovative, and you definitely do not have a small
South Park didn't feel like comedy that night. It felt like a detonation disguised as animation, the kind that doesn't break windows but cracks authority. And the question that quietly spread through those hallways was simple and terrifying. How did a cartoon do this? Because this didn't happen in a vacuum. America was already bleeding.
Hey, relax, guy.
We don't know who yet, sir, but Pam Bondi has been looking into it.
That's right, sir. We won't let any harm come to the baby of the greatest president that ever lived.
Minneapolis was raw before that episode ever aired. ICE raids had already turned neighborhoods into pressure cookers. Then came the shootings. Not rumors, not distant headlines. Real people, real bodies on cold pavement. Videos spread faster than statements ever could. Official narratives talked about threats and procedures, while shaky phone footage showed chaos, confusion, and fear. That gap between what people saw and what they were told ripped trust wide open. Protests exploded. Students walked out. Workers shut things down. By the time South Park dropped, the country wasn't laughing. It was grieving and furious.
I thought we were knocking the East Wing down to make room for the nursery.
What?
The nursery?
That's why the episode hit like a punch to the throat. South Park didn't gently parody ICE, it went nuclear. The show took everything people were afraid to say out loud and exaggerated it until it screamed. ICE agents weren't brave or heroic.
Mr. President, you have so many great ideas. Your leadership is truly beyond anything we have ever had in this country.
They were reckless, cruel, and absurdly confident in their own power. Cartman's ICE parody wasn't random or lazy. It was targeted. He wasn't just being loud and stupid. He was repeating the exact language people had heard in real press briefings, twisted just enough to expose how empty it sounded. DHS leadership was shown as detached, confused, and obsessed with optics instead of consequences. Authority wasn't respected. It was stripped naked and laughed at. And the laughter didn't feel safe. It felt uncomfortable. Heavy, the kind of laugh that gets stuck in your throat because you know it's connected to something real. Watching it felt wrong and accurate at the same time.
I just want to go. This place is gross.
Would you like me to apply the baby oil to save the asshole, boss?
Like mocking power while people were still burying the dead. That's why some people flinched. That's why others couldn't look away. Timing is everything, and this timing was brutal.
All right, fellas, South Park is back. The second episode of season 27, once again, goes hard at Donald Trump, the Trump administration, and the MAGA mouthpieces.
This episode didn't land weeks later when emotions cooled. It landed while protests were still active, while Minneapolis streets were still tense, while ICE was under national scrutiny, while trust in federal agencies was already near historic lows. Polling before this moment already showed public confidence in federal law enforcement slipping below 50% among younger Americans. The episode didn't create that distrust. It poured gasoline on it. It collided with real deaths and real anger, and the impact multiplied.
If someone has the power of the presidency and also has the power to sue and take bribes, then he can do anything to anyone.
Public reaction split instantly. Some people laughed because laughter felt like survival. Some were furious, calling it disrespectful. Others just sat there stunned, watching a cartoon say what no official ever would. Social media turned chaotic. Clips spread faster than clarifications. Memes outperformed statements. Hashtags mocking ICE and DHS surged while official accounts struggled to sound serious without sounding ridiculous. The episode wasn't too soon. That was the point. It was too accurate, and that accuracy scared people in power.
I'm gonna just take a little break here.
Hey, come on! Relax, guy!
Okay, so they're, what?
2029. Let's fucking go. Tax the rich. Tax the churches. Equal rights for all.
Inside government offices, panic replaced confidence. Emergency meetings popped up that were never meant to exist. Lawyers debated whether satire could be considered a harmful influence. Communications teams scrambled to respond without acknowledging the episode too directly, because acknowledging it gave it power. Some officials publicly brushed it off while privately fuming. Others openly condemned it, which only made it louder. The idea that a cartoon could shape public perception more than official messaging hit like a gut punch.
No, Brandon.
What you mean, no?
Shitty ankles.
What made it worse was the contrast. While officials worried about reputational damage, people were still marching, still chanting names, still demanding accountability. The disconnect was obvious and ugly. Every attempt to look in control made things worse. The more serious the response, the funnier the clips became. The more defensive the statements, the more people shared screenshots from the episode.
The first episode came out where they did the teeny tiny bit before Paramount's attempt to do a corporate merger had closed.
That's when the truth became impossible to ignore. This wasn't about jokes, it was about exposure. South Park didn't invent corruption, violence, or hypocrisy. It just turned the volume up so high that pretending not to hear it became impossible.
Doing what he does best, saying, hey, it's just fake. It's fake news.
The show held up a mirror at the worst possible moment, and instead of seeing a reflection, a power saw threat. Not because the cartoon lied, but because too much of it felt familiar. And when satire meets trauma like this, it doesn't stay entertainment. It becomes a stress test for institutions, for credibility, for authority itself.
The president is a great man, and he does not deserve to be tormented like this.
That's why the reaction was so intense. Not because South Park crossed a line, but because it showed how thin that line already was. The panic didn't look dramatic at first, it looked messy. Late night calls that weren't supposed to exist. Emergency meetings with no agenda and no notes. The kind where people show up in half-button shirts pretending this was totally planned. Inside government offices, the mood flipped from confidence to confusion fast. Someone asked whether this was just a TV show. Someone else replied, very quietly, then why is everyone watching it?
Ah, where did Pam Bondi go?
What?
Pam Bondi, she's gone.
But she was sitting right here.
Pam?
Pam!
Where's Pam Bondi?
I'm right here, sir.
Look, it's back.
What's back?
You've got some shit on your nose again.
Oh my God.
Aides scrambled like they were trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. Lawyers started arguing over things no one thought they'd ever argue about with a straight face. Can a cartoon be dangerous? Can satire influence public behavior? Is mockery a form of misinformation? These weren't jokes. These were actual questions floating around rooms with flags and seals on the wall. And the worst fear wasn't legal, it was cultural. The fear was that South Park had shaped public perception in a way no official statement ever could. That's when satire stopped being comedy and started being treated like psychological warfare.
By selling cryptocurrency?
What's wrong with trying to make a little money while also pointing out the things wrong with our town?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I have to do something, Kyle. I'm 9 years old and I live in a retirement home.
And you really think crypto is your way out?
Officials didn't say that part out loud, but you could feel it. Every joke from the episode felt like a direct hit. Every meme felt like another crack. Protests were one thing. Officials had strategies for protests. They had playbooks. But ridicule doesn't negotiate. It doesn't sit down for a meeting. It just spreads. And it hurt more than chance ever did. So power did what power always does when it feels embarrassed. It swung.
As a reminder, please stay 5 feet away from the president at all times and avoid staring directly into his...
Publicly, the response looked calm and professional. Statements were released full of concern and carefully chosen disappointment, the kind that sounds principled but smells like control. Privately, it was chaos. Networks got quiet calls, sponsors got gentle reminders, and platforms were urged to be responsible. No bans, no threats, just enough pressure to remind everyone who usually decides where the line is.
All right, everyone here to meet with the president, please make sure you have a reservation and that you have your gifts ready.
the message underneath wasn't subtle. This wasn't about free speech, it was about respect, or more accurately, demanding respect while refusing accountability. Officials framed South Park as reckless and harmful to public trust, which landed badly. Trust wasn't collapsing because of a cartoon, it was collapsing because people felt ignored, misled, and talked down to. Instead of fixing that, leaders chose to protect law enforcement morale, as if morale needed shielding from animated fourth graders.
You are without equal, sir,
hey, Pam.
and we are honored to be.
Pam, sorry, you got a little on your nose there.
Oh, do I?
Retaliation backfired immediately. Every condemnation became a headline, and every warning turned into free promotion. The harder officials tried to sound serious, the funnier the clips became. What people saw wasn't authority standing firm, but insecurity wearing a tailored suit. And while all of this played out behind closed doors, something louder was happening outside. The streets answered back. The episode didn't start protests, it supercharged them. Students walked out, workers organized strikes, and communities already grieving felt seen by satire that said the quiet part out loud. Online, memes and clips moved in seconds while press briefings struggled to catch up. Culture didn't just challenge authority in that moment, it ran straight through it. Then the PR machine collapsed. Messaging turned defensive, then repetitive, then desperate. Denials became punchlines, and silence slowly replaced authority. South Park said nothing because it didn't need to. The government blinked first, and the humiliation was complete. When people trust satire more than statements, power has already lost.